We're alive, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, in the beautiful home of Zach, Zachariah, Shlomo. Together, you guys make Zusha. Thanks so much for hosting and having me, for being on the podcast, guys.
Yeah,
really appreciate it.
It's a privilege.
Sure. So, what did Dover do to moms to change your lives?
I jump right in.
We're not wasting time. It's great. We have Sperm on the table, some water. Shlomo getting married in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Life is happening.
Wow.
But we're jumping around really. I wanted to what's going on in your life?
Dover. First of all, it's like the question. Most people, their number one question is, "Who is Dover? What did he do? What has he done?"
Yeah, who's this man?
Yeah, I've told the story a number of times. Like you can share it.
Oh, you know what to tell it?
No.
So there's many ways to tell the story. There's the abridged version. There's a lengthy version. There was this man, and we had just finished our first world tour on our second album, Kavana, and Zach brought someone in, and he said, "Hey guys, meet my friend Dover." And to me, I thought that meant that they were friends for a long time. Apparently they met outside in the alleyway.
I feel like you guys give off that energy though, you know, people who spend either little or a lot of time with you feel like friends, you know?
Yeah. Oh, sure. I was like, wow, they probably went. I had in my mind like, oh, they went to yeshiva together, maybe childhood friends. I had no idea.
Yeah. Well, I went outside after the show because I left something on the stage, and the place was empty. It was like a couple hours after we played, and there was just one guy still there, just like as if the concert was still happening. He was just like, wow. He was just like still watching it almost. I was like, hey, you know, what's going on? He's like, oh, hey, I'm Dover. Nice to meet you. I was like, what are you doing here, man? Come hang out with us, you know?
So when Zach introduced him, like, it's a beautiful thing about Zach is he gives so much cover to the stranger, to the same cover that he would give to a lifelong friend. So that was my intro to Dover. It seems like he was a lifelong friend of Zach. It's like, hi Dover, great to meet you. And then and in the meantime, I was in my own little world in the room, playing my little ukulele that I was obsessed with at that point in time, and I was sitting with another friend actually from LA, a friend of Zach as well, and I was writing something. I was in the middle. Something was coming down. The muse was singing, and the music was flowing, and I didn't have words yet. All I had was these chords, and maybe the melody had started, and then Dover starts sharing about his relationship to our music, and at first he was really like disinterested in even hearing it. He was like, yeah, right, it's good music. Like, yeah, sure.
Jewish
and
music.
Jewish music. I don't want to hear any Jewish music.
Right.
And he has like a millennial taste buds for music, so it's sometimes that could be hard for Jewish music. But he had a friend who was going through depression or some really hard time in his life, and he would request, he's like, Dover, please listen to this music. It's speaking to me, and if I know it also speaks to you, I'll feel a little bit better. And like, I don't know. But then this guy was really in a hard time, and then Dover finally gave in. He listened, and he said, but listen, before you listen, I'm locking you in this room. Like, you gotta listen to it until it hits. If it doesn't hit, you're not allowed to leave the room. That's my request.
It's basically jail.
Wow.
He was in Zusha jail.
Till you feel something.
I don't know. He said it took like 10, 20 times or something, and like he like felt it. He felt it. It was on replay or whatever. And then he had a whole story. You want to tell the story?
It could be like this tagline: if Zusha music doesn't work for you the first time around, just give it another 19 tries.
Well, he told us a whole story, which I don't think it's so shocked to say right now. But needless to say, it was just like this was like our 14th or 15th show, it was like towards the end. And we were just playing the same music every single night. And music is something that's so impromptu and so on the spot, and it's like in the moment, being present. So it's hard to sort of recreate that constantly. So his message in his story was just like, you have to appreciate even the one song that you have, and don't get caught up on like the whole thinking about a whole set and thinking about the next album and thinking about what do you have to do in the future. Just like hold on to one small thing, and for us at that time, that's like exactly what we needed to hear.
And while I was writing this song, that was like, oh, like now it's complete, because this song and the message of the song, as noted in the chorus, like, which is niggunim hayotzim min halev, wordless melodies that exit the heart, that come from the heart, emanate from the heart, nichnasim halev, enter the heart, which means that it's really an ode to what we're doing in its totality. And when he spoke that message, like Zach was saying, and like he left us with that takeaway, like, don't worry about all the songs, just worry about one at a time. Like the one that's affecting you, let that and I was in the middle of that one for me. And that's why it's like, in a certain way, he reminded us of why we're doing this in the first place. And that's why Mom has changed our life. So he reminded us that one song could, if it changes your life, it could change someone else's life. And so let each song do its thing. And at the right time, you'll have that collection of songs in which you can put on an album. But like, let each one come in its time, and don't force it, don't push it. Right. And that was really beautiful. And then I started to, like, after he finished the story and got to his punchline about this message, I was like, wow. And I was like, Doiver. And I'm like, Mama's singing. It was very honest. Like, I was talking to him. I was actually singing to Dover. In that moment, I found the words for that melody that I was kind of writing as he was telling the story. And it was like, Dover, hey, Dover. And the whole room, like, felt it. Like, it was, the song was coming as a message was coming from someone other than me. And then, like, but now I'm singing back to him.
And right Alicia was like, thing, and then there was a trombone or something.
What to know? Trumpet. And the funny thing about this guy, Ari, what's his name? Ari Hurston. Ari. So he actually became like a famous writer right after that.
Wow.
He published a book.
But
it was from Dover.
The next day,
from Dover.
With a niggin, once you have nigunim melodies, all of a sudden you can have the blessings to be a famous writer.
Here's the thing.
Bam.
We write melodies and we write a lot of songs, and it happened to be the next day we were going to Joshua Tree. We were in California, and we were going to film a couple of live performances. So, of course, like us, like last minute, like we didn't know what we were gonna play. And this song, Shlomo really,
I was hooked on it. I was like, it's
part of
I was
it
like,
now.
wow.
He was like, I was like trying to do a Bob Marley cover, and he's like, let's do this Dove Bear song. It's like, all right. And so the next day we recorded it, and then we put it out, and then like months later, somebody sent us a video of like him at the Baal Shem Tov's cover, and just being like, Baal Shem Tov.
They changed it to Baal Shem Tov.
Sure, they adapted it to wherever they were.
Yeah.
Chassidim thinks the melody is called Baal Shem Tov.
Yeah.
So you think, well, it's not what music is, or like in any kind of art form. Like you create it, you put it out there, and then it's really less. It's not about you anymore. It's what how people interact with it and how it changes them. I mean, and we all know that you guys, you just got released, like Spotify just like shared like over 1 million streams of Zusha from around the world, like over 70 countries.
And that's just Spotify.
Not just Spotify.
That
is just Spotify alone. Of course, we're not talking about YouTube and any other type of streaming.
Yeah.
Of course,
about all the CDs we got out there.
Oh, the albums, man, Judaica World and the Mavis for sure. Eichlers. Just like it's just like off the charts. But it's incredible, like the reach, right? That your music has, the amount of people, whether any type of walk of life, Jewish and people who aren't.
But the Dove Bear message is, forget about 1 million. Just focus on one.
Bringing it back, Zach.
But let me bring a Jason Silva. Let me chat with Jason Silva.
That listens to one song is like more than enough.
Yeah, of course.
Do you know Jason Silva?
Jason Silva.
Yeah, he's like
of course.
a futurist.
He's a futurist!
Just like you!
Man, I love him, of course. I actually bumped into him in Union Square. I was filming a video, long story short. Love Jason.
Union Square?
Yeah, I bumped into him.
That's where we bumped.
Of course,
we're not in Crown Heights.
Exactly, that's true.
So Jason Silva, I was, for a period of time, I was like deep, like a few weeks, I was like, dude, I was so into his, because I loved how he brought video. It was as an extension of the idea he was sharing. It wasn't like some random, it was like always like woven. Anyways, he had this idea that, what is a billionaire? Someone who's affected 1 billion people. Not a person who has $1 billion in his pocket, but someone who's affected 1 billion people in the world.
Sure, I love that.
So Zusha just became millionaires.
Hey, that's how we're getting
We just became millionaires. We just became millionaires.
We became millionaires, right.
Zach just became a millionaire. Why? Because we affected each person. We affected each listener in that moment in time. And 1 million people were affected in that one moment of time for them. So like,
beautiful.
So taking Zach's message of one, that moment has happened for a million times this year.
One time, but a million times over.
Yes.
Each person had that one.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's the Dover message.
sure.
And that's why all the zeros are only, the one is only in value with all the zero. Like when we realize that we're like, it's not about me having a million. It's about giving one over. It's all the zeros of giving over to someone else. And put that one in the front, the other person, and then you're a millionaire. Aluf Shalom.
So, I mean, that's an incredible mindset and way of being in life. Was this always the way? Do you have to get to this point, or did you get lost for a bit along? Like, I mean, becoming a celebrity.
I lost today. I just got found.
Just right now. You know, you get lost in the music. Like, how do you stay humble? How do you keep this grounded mindset that, yes, you know, we're just, you know, it's all about that one person. It's not about necessarily the views. How do you stay connected to that message?
Friendship.
I agree.
Period. Nothing else needs to be said.
You need balance. You need someone in your life that can tell you that that's a bad idea, and not because they care about you and they're not worried about hurting your feelings. They care about you and they want to tell you the truth.
The honest truth.
Yeah, you need a lot of those people.
It's worth it to spend $1 million for one friend. To spend $1 million to get the preciousness of one person in the world.
And would you say, Zach, is that for you and Shlomo for Zach?
I spent 1 million hours. I spent them
on this episode. The real
I
story.
spent 1 million hours for sure. 1 million hours,
right,
1 million minutes, 1 million seconds at least.
So let's get back before there was Zusha. I mean, and all that. There was 2011, and there was a Judah Blue band.
I had been Judah Blue, yeah.
Judah Blue. I literally went down the YouTube rabbit hole, and like this is like pre-Shlomo, like beard days, rocking out a plaid shirt in the middle of the field, falling. Yaniv Hoffman, Jericho, we love him.
So we're getting married 1 week apart from each other.
Like 1 week apart?
We have this 1 week apart thing where basically he's getting married a week before me in Israel, like the Thursday night before, and we were just in South Africa, and he went a week after we were just there. We have this like week thing going on.
Wow, 7 week creation of world life, we're coming together 7 days in the tent.
40
wow.
days.
Okay, 40 days, 7 times 7. But that's where it really comes down to, you know, like it's a friendship. You guys were on this journey, amen. But like from 2011, you guys had this band that was going strong. But what was like the progression from there? I know 2012, you guys you had changes, and I've seen the music video. By the way, it's still up there for all those who are listening and watching. Like I would say,
it happens every day now.
Yo, and
wish that I knew how.
That's
how to stay alive.
On the rooftop and together. I mean, a lot of change happened because, like, from 2011, from falling to 2012, you had the beard already. So I wonder what took place during that year. Was that just like a hipster thing before the hipster movement?
I think the last song was Oneness.
Oh, was it?
But we're still holding on to that.
But what happened with So during that time, you guys were together. You guys met by the Chabad of the Bowery. Is that how did you connect?
Actually, Yaniv and I met in. I don't know if it was preschool. I think it was like we were very young, maybe like 3rd or 4th grade, maybe even lower, at our friend Daniel Greenbloom's birthday, I believe. And Daniel and I met Yaniv there. We re-met again when he came to my school in 7th grade, or maybe it was 6th. I think it was 7th grade, and he wanted to check out the Hebrew Academy where I was going. And we instantly connected somehow the first day he came and was visiting. We just connected, and like we've been close friends ever since. Like Judah Blue is only one expression of our friendship, but our friendship has lasted and maintains, and Miras Hashem will be forever. So so Judah Blue has been on pause.
Sure.
It may return.
Totally. The band will get back together. All right, you heard it here, guys. You heard it here.
Or maybe Zusha will do at least one song, if not many, with Jericho.
Yeah.
We'll do special things together. But we've definitely already performed together in different beautiful occasions. Right. But that relationship is like a really, really beautiful relationship. He was actually one of the first friends, like Hasidic friends, a person who really who we related on that higher consciousness and wanted to do big things together. So that's where Judah Blue started. And it started, we would jam, what's it called when you busk? We were busking. We were busking on the downtown Silver Spring.
No way.
Yeah, and I would play saxophone.
Yeah, I heard you play. You play sax. Yeah, maybe we'll hear a little something. That's cool. All right. Or maybe one of the tracks. You ever whip out the saxophone on stage? Have you?
We want to.
We want to. Yeah. My saxophone needs some tuning up. If anyone wants to sponsor it,
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Throwing it out there. Throwing it out
If
there.
anyone wants to, I would love a. Yeah, no, mine is pretty
This is
deteriorated. I think I need a new one. So.
Okay.
If anyone's
Just
down.
putting it out there. All right. Sameach,
Sam,
Amazon.
Ash, guitars, and
Guitar. They got some saxes over there. So you guys, fine. I mean, for sure. I love how you said that. There's one. That's one expression of your friendship. Sometimes we like to box things in.
Oh yeah, people
connection,
love
personalities.
to do that.
Just like this is it. It's like no, it's many facets to a friendship and to growth. I mean, Zusha, I'm sure. I don't want to put it in your mouth, but could not exist without Judah Blue or any type of experience that you've
No,
had.
that was a precursor for me to realize how powerful music can be, and Yaniv really taught me that message. One of the things Yaniv left me off with, like a message that I feel like Yaniv really helped me understand, and Zach already understood when I met him, but we've been getting to appreciate more, is that the most important part of a song is not the notes that you play, it's the notes you choose not to. And that's something I remember Yaniv told me, and it's like it gets deeper and deeper the more I realize that that's true. And even over the progression of our albums thus far, I think you can even hear it. Like let's say, like in the first album, Kavana, Zusha, Eponymous. So you'll hear that there's a lot of like soloing that I do, like vocal solos. But the more, as the albums progress, you'll hear less of that. Because there's like, for me personally, on my journey, I think I've just started with Judah Blue, but it's only continued. It's one hemshech, it's one long progression of trying to grow in music, trying to grow in authenticity, and the friendship with Zach has been tremendous. Growing and understanding myself, understanding my relationship to music and the power of music. Started with Yaniv, but it's also continuing with Zach, and
totally.
It's growing, yeah.
And in part of that journey, though, I mean, I know initially there was a third. There was like Alicia that was part of the whole Zusha crew, and like that was something that huge, the trifecta, trifecta.
Yeah.
And so like
Crosby, Stills, Nash.
How's that?
Crosby, Stills, Nash. Yeah.
That's right. And I mean, I suppose like during that chapter, there was a lot of growth, a lot of things happening.
Oh, totally.
And then there's perhaps like you said, maybe is this an analogy of like stopping certain notes to be played? Like, is it sometimes you just have to like let something go and let that progress its own manner?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the goal of a friendship and the goal of any project really should just to make everyone happy. Like your interest has to be their interest, and you can't want something for someone else. And I feel like that's something we try and do for each other. That's something that like we did for Alicia. Like he was at some point interested in pursuing something else in life, and that was a super difficult time for us because we're like don't go, like
That's a big part
holding
of
on.
Man.
And it's hard to move forward in life and feel like you're missing something. And I feel like this past album was like our first album without him, and it was a challenging experience. But I think like ultimately you can't, humans' eyes are in the front of their head, and you have to just keep looking forward and looking to the future. And we try and support each other. And I want what he wants, and he wants what I want, and that's where our head is at. And
it's really an art of listening. Just like music is an art of listening, it's true by friendship, and so you can learn from one to the other. And I think that sometimes you hear what you want to hear.
Yeah, sure, totally.
And
selective hearing.
Yeah, selective hearing, and I think that in Mir Tashem, like everyone, we need to be able to really hear each other, and it was clear that he needed to shift gears and really explore something, and we wanted to give him our blessings and allow him to pursue that and not hold back in any way, shape, or form, and vice versa. So, but the truth is that where we are now was because of that really special relationship that the three of us had together, 100%. And that was the what's it called, the board you jump off of, the springboard. Yeah. Yes, that special trio, that special synthesis that we had all together was like a magnificent springboard for where we are now, and we're so grateful. It was actually Alicia, and it was actually
Alicia's brother that initially encouraged us to take this thing seriously.
Ari.
Yeah.
Avi.
Keep you on your toes, brother. Yeah. Waiting all the time. Yeah.
Ari.
Gotcha.
He heard like we had an iPhone recording. He's like, "You guys got to do this." Wow. Yeah, and I feel like everyone needs that in life.
Was that still? But when he heard that, was that still a Jewish rock band vibe, or was this already the Zusha feel? Like, did you? This is.
So I think Judah Blue was more
That was a separate
rock
chapter,
band.
yeah.
I think this was
in the
more
transition.
reflective, and like now
Mystical.
we're reflective,
Misty.
mystical,
Folky.
and folky, and just like really just like organic, grainy, and like just like let it be real. Whatever it is, let's not like cover it up or put like pop filters on every vocal. You know, like
Right.
let's really let's produce an authentic sound that's real and that can affect people in a real way. If it comes from a real place, it goes to a real place.
But we wrote a song together the first time we met.
Just boom.
So-
Oh my God, that's a keeper right there. Is that how you
It's on
found your
album.
wives? Like you just sit down, like okay, like
Right.
just you. And now I'm gonna start singing the tune under the moon. Yeah, when you marry me. Yeah, okay, it's good. Does that work? That work? That's how it worked. That's how I met my wife. That's how it works. Well, that's. I mean, are there certain musicians or artists or bands out there that have influenced your music? That have a strong presence when you sit down to write or springboard you into the motion of the ocean that you're producing now?
This guy Mayor K is a huge influence.
Yeah.
I've heard about this guy. I want to meet him.
His falsetto is. It's on-
Me, ma, ma, ma. Oh my gosh, I've damaged my voice completely. Do you hear that rust? You know, it's like
But you go.
Yeah, but that
that's
sells.
rust.
$1 million bucks.
That's $1 million. Yeah, I damaged my voice
People
for
pay
that.
for that, bro.
That's right. Me and Bradley Cooper.
That's a million moments of singing in the wrong way to get to this.
To get to this point, exactly. That's like 1,000 bar mitzvahs right there.
Yeah.
And welcome, Mazel Tov to Joey, Menachem, Shmuley, Sarah. Well, bas mitzvahs. I think one bas mitzvah in my playbook. But yeah, no. Singing
You
is
should be blessed to have
definitely.
many more vestments.
Amen. Amen.
Maybe to
Amen.
Hashem your daughters.
We have all sorts of influences all across the board, and that's kind of what's the music is kind of interesting like that, because on one hand we have like this very our spiritual, like our Jewish influences, like Reb Shlomo Carlebach, and like just Hasidic niggunim that are just like interesting and intriguing.
I think we have like an obsession with Hasidic niggunim, especially me right now. I cannot stop listening. I especially the ones that people don't know yet. I'm like these Pittsburgh niggunim. I'm like really deep in right now.
Pittsburgh niggunim.
Simin tov mazel tov, mazel tov simin tov, yeah, lavani. Simin tov mazel tov, yeah, lavani. Lechal Yisro alamai, lechal Yisro alamai. Lechal Yisro alamai, ay ay ay, lechal Yisro alamai.
12 hours later, we have an album.
But you balance that. You balance that with
like Bonnie
Bonnie
Bear,
and
Sufjan
Bob
Stevens.
Marley and Sufjan Stevens
Wow.
and the Beatles, and you're just
And,
like, what am I listening
Eric
to?
Clapton.
And then of course.
And Bach and Baroque music and like
So where does the non-Jewish music stop and the Jewish music begin? Like
easy.
you think it's gonna be fun? The games here? Hold on, we're going to the source of it all.
What to say?
On our next episode, we're gonna talk about It's a
Great question.
It's a great question.
I like to think of like Jewish music as the soul, and all the music that exists in the world, call it Jewish, call it non-Jewish, whatever you want to call it, but all forms of music being like the vessel building. Like we take a little bit of reggae here, a little bit of Bach here, a little bit of jazz here, and you put that all together to contain the Jewish soul that we breathe, that animates us. But we're giving it vessels that are millennial.
It's like the hands of Esav in the voice of Jacob.
Oh, drop the mic. Sheesh. That's it. We're gonna close this episode right now.
Shut it
Kol
down.
kol Yaakov Yadayim Esav.
Right.
The whole point, I feel like, and I think Shlomo feels the same way, is that we each had a unique Jewish upbringing where we were exposed to a lot of different things, and I feel like rather than sort of shut that whole part of our life out, to sort of find a way to, because we were attracted to that, and we loved, personally I love going to concerts and love going to festivals and that kind of stuff, and I feel like there's something powerful there, there's something very powerful about music, and if you could take elements of that, but
With a fundamental Jewish soul.
yeah, take the parts, make it Jewish, like make it reveal, not make it Jewish, reveal, get rid of all the shells, just reveal the fruit of like, there's holiness in everything, and you have to like know what to eat and what not to eat. And I feel like us listening to this kind of music is our way of like trying to bring the best of the best to the Jewish people. It's like cuisine from around the world. It's like music from around the world, but it's like mamish talking about the holiest things.
It's like Izzy Smokehouse open up taqueria.
Right.
It's probably one of the, like, you know, just like changes the whole Epicurean experience over here.
Why do you think that? I mean, it's interesting that you just brought that up. Like, why? It seems like Crown Heights.
Fried chicken.
Fried.
I haven't gone there.
You haven't gone yet?
Maybe we should go after.
Game changer. We could. Yeah. I actually did.
Let's go right now. Forget this interview.
We had Izzy on the podcast yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
We got all the secret sauce. We went deep. It's side note, but like, what do you think that has the Crown Heights mentality? It seems like a lot of quote unquote influencers or people, personalities, singers, foodies come from this community. Why
It's
do you
like
think that is?
in music there was something called Tin Pan Alley, and that was like the record recording area where all the great composers, all the great musicians were just like really close in proximity, and just tons of music started pouring out from Tin Pan Alley. So I feel like in Jewish music, in Jewish creativity, in Jewish art, obviously that everything starts from Yerushalayim. But from Yerushalayim, I feel like then it comes here, and then it goes to the world.
Oh, wow. Spoken like a true chassid.
I feel like also Chabad is just global, and it's a very global mindset. And you have people from all over the world coming here, and people from here going all over the world, and that kind of energy is just
it's a global village. It's not we're all in one. The whole globe is one place.
They want to explore. The Rebbe was like, go and explore the world, like partially for other people, but also for you. Like,
reveal the Gedlichkeit.
Right. Oh, totally.
Reveal the Gedlichkeit
around the world. Make it a home. You can go anywhere. You go to Venezuela.
You can literally pop in anywhere and feel at home, right? Whether it's through the food, through the conversation, through just the atmosphere, the energy. Yeah. You're like, oh man,
and then come back here, and it's like all that concentrated.
Or you could do.
Of course, you have Zusha. Of course, you have America. Of course, you have Izzy's fried chicken.
And if you could do it, you could. And the crazy thing is, tonight we could do both at once. Like right now, our music is probably playing in Buenos Aires. Right now, our music is in Jerusalem.
70 countries.
Over like 79 countries, and we're right here. So we're both affecting the globe, and we're affecting our community in the self-same moment. And that's like the power of this internet ether, where like it's this whole world of interconnectivity, which is already present in this revealed world, but through this like
the internet is the same as Bon Iver.
Oh, okay.
Because the internet has terrible things on it. You can do terrible things.
It's a tool.
And you could do it's a tool.
It's a tool.
So I look at music the same way. Like sometimes we listen to music just as like a means to understand what different people are doing, so that we can.
Like Reb Nachman says, like you can listen. You want to know what's happening in the world of godliness. You have to hear what's being said in the streets of Edom, and like the capital of exile. You have to hear what's being said right there. And I believe the Rebbe, and we're in the Shechuna, we're in the community. Sure. He said that New York is a capital of exile, and so by hearing what's happening in the streets of New York, we're also hearing what's happening in 360 in the epicenter of the entire universe.
Right.
At the ever-expanding universe, we're hearing like a residue of what's actually taking place in the higher world, and one who has the ear to hear, one who has like a godly sensitivity is able to hear what that really means on an inner essence. And I think that it's so too is with everything in the world. Everything can be kosher. Everything can be even kosher things can become aser.
And also everything has everything in it.
Yes,
right. Everything is a mix. Everything.
And so that's Lurian Kabbalah right there.
Okay.
It's colorless. This is colorless.
Yeah, there's a pretty face.
Just a podcast.
Dude,
slow down. All right, this is only part one. But there's but I mean also slow down. Baruch Hashem, but also like you said, just like winding it back. But I guess it's also taking just seeing the good in perspective and positivity.
That's what it is. Very simple.
Yeah, but you are
like the Ishbitzer says, like in shorthand, basically he says this powerful idea that he says from the tree of good and evil do not eat. But before that, if you read the verse right before, it says eat from all the trees of the field eat, basically from all the trees of the garden eat. Period. do not eat from the tree of good and evil. But he has a whole new reading of it. And eat also from the good. He says, eat from all the trees of the field and the good, and from the bad do not eat from it. Meaning he breaks the verse differently. And he says that the purpose, our relationship, he says when Messiah is going to come, we're going to see that like the whole time the real perspective was, you can either eat from all the trees of the field and the good, and the bad do not eat from it, or you can eat from all the trees of the field and the good of the tree of the Eitz Hadas, but don't eat from the bad from it. It's a deep idea. Maybe I'm not expressing right, but the point is clear.
I think no, please.
No, what did you think?
I think what he's saying that there's good in every moment. There's good in every person.
But people can choose to eat, consume. Like, do we consume the good of that moment, or do we choose to consume the bad? It's like the glass is half full, half empty.
Or you can decide like this is too confusing for me. I don't want to touch that. Like some people are like.
They section off certain parts of the world which they feel are hyper.
Or scares them, or maybe there's a fear there, or what they've been told. But I think you're echoing what.
Maybe Yavin, like if you're in touch enough with Hashem, then you can run around the world and just be in kedusha all day long.
Oh, 100%. Yeah,
if
you're connected with them. Yeah. Been around. Yeah, if the roots are, if they're connected, then of course, you sway. You this. Roots are everywhere. 100%. So I mean, when was a big moment for you when you realized that Zusha was onto another level? Like, when did it just realize, like, wait a second, this is not?
I feel like every moment it's like we were like keep learning this because like it's like every moment, like every moment that it continues is a validation that there's something here, Yeah. So it's like a continual, week by week, day by day. Every time we have a meeting, we're realizing how special this is and how. But also how much responsibility that is, and like let's take it on. Let's take what's coming our way, and let's give as much as we can. Some people live in the world and they're taking from the world. Some people, they're hoping that by the time they exit the world, they're giving to the world. Like when a baby's born, their hands are clenched, and the person passes, their hands are open. Mm-hmm. So the sages teach that means that a baby's born with so many things in their hands that they're holding, that they have in their domain. But really, the goal of life is to eventually have given it all out. So like we have this shopping cart. Zach and I in this project called Zusha. It's like we have a shopping cart filled with all this potential for amazing music and educational, wisdom and like supernal wisdom to share that we've been gifted, that we've learned, and new melodies of our own, melodies that we love that people have never heard, and we're able to like. Give it all out, and so much more. That's just the surface, weddings and all sorts of things. We have so much to share, but we still just started giving it out. We've only been giving it out for 5 years.
Just.
We want to be giving it out for 120.
Oh, amen, Mr. Shem. I mean,
this is year 5 of 120.
Yeah. Oh yeah. God willing.
That's a long time.
Zach's like, let's.
I'm already 28.
Just take 1 year at a time.
Like 140. Anyway.
Music.
No, the healthy attitude is to feel like, like Shlomo says, you never feel like, I feel like even the most successful people, and even, it's probably even more so for that kind of person, they just never feel like they've made it. And they're constantly trying to reinvent themselves and what they're doing.
It's true. I think fixating yourself on a certain place never satisfies any artist. I know I've fallen for that mistake as well, where it's just like, okay, I want to get here, and you get there, and it could be whether it's with money or with likes, which should be more valuable than money in this day and age. But like it's like okay, it's like with money you can buy the likes, but like you get there, it's like that. But when you when I realized that it's less about that, right? It's less about creating but like really just expressing self, and just like every time just being in this one song in this one moment, and just whatever's being done right now is what's all that matters. Right. Then I get lost. I get less lost in just the chase and just being.
Well, some people like, if they ask them why they do something, it's like, I want to make be successful, and make a lot of money. So you gotta ask yourself, like, what if you had all the money in the world? Then what do you want to do?
And then do that now.
And then let's say it's music. So then the truth is, like, we're successful every time we play a concert, because that's like, if we had all the money in the world, we'd just be going around playing music. So I feel like every time we play, it's like, we made it.
Yeah, some people wait their whole life to figure out what it is that they would do once they get there. Right. But like, if you're already existing there, and you bring your there to here, then here and there are one thing. You get.
That's incredible. When do you think people get like? Where does people get that confusion lost?
They never stop. They don't have Shabbos. They don't have one day of rest where they stop the whole digital thing and they just detox. There was a movement called digital detox. Actually, the person who started it.
It's called Shabbos.
In other words.
And digital detox is called Shabbos, basically. But they got an idea. I mean, they came out with it like 5,770 something years late. But we thought
it's 2.0.
when the world was created, it was created with a digital detox before the digital world was created. So when the world was created, it was already ready to go. That there should be this day. Everything's over, and God Himself needs the day. God Himself wants it. So So point is that digital detox, while it slows down one's concurrency of like things going on, moving and point is, it's like if someone would never sleep, then they would never be able to wake up and do more. But everyone values that you need like 4 to 6 to 8 hours of sleep, right? So everyone values that you need to take a stop. So why don't we do that on a weekly level? There should be like a sleep of the week, which is Shabbos. Shabbos is a sleep of the week where you just like put your head down for a little bit from all that our head was involved in. And we open our head to a new world, a world of dreaming, a world of realizing. Actually, during sleep, what happens is we're processing all that took place. So too, when you stop, you're able to process all that took place, all that information, all the things that happen, just like integrate. And then you reintegrate into that world as a newly integrated person. All that you've received is now integrated. Then you reintegrate your new self into the world, and you can give so much more. And like that's what the world doesn't have. And if they would have that, I feel like, meaning like a weekly stopping point, where it's like they put aside all that they've done, they realize that they've done enough. All that you've done is enough. And then you live in that world of completion, of wholeness. And rather than living, like Zach's saying, where you always feel lacking, you always feel like you're deficient, you're never there. But if you allow yourself to feel like you've gotten there, and then to go back, okay, I have still to do, and then now I'm there. And then that's really healthy. That's real growth. That's how, just like the body functions healthfully when it gets to sleep, the body did enough for one day. I go to sleep. You wake up. Oh, I have so much to do. I did everything. And it's so healthy because that just like everyone values sleep, they should really value Shabbos. And if the world values Shabbos, especially if the ambassadors of light of the world value Shabbos, then I think the world would be in a complete place, a redeemed world.
So when you guys wake up and go to sleep, I mean, all you guys really breathe and do is music and Zusha and creating stuff.
Yeah, we do nothing else.
Yeah, nothing else.
What is else?
If you weren't doing this in your life right now, what would you be doing?
That's fine. Do it one more time.
One more time.
Slow.
Okay.
Shabbos.
I will slow Shabbos. If you weren't living Zusha, if you weren't creating music and performing and sharing this beautiful being and purpose that which you are, what would you be doing?
No idea. I have no idea. Because the truth is, I could see myself doing a bunch of different things, but like, could I do that on a consistent basis? Like, would I be able to go in every single day and do that and be like, oh, this is, this is life,
Yeah.
No. I think I was confused as a child and be like, what am I gonna do when I grow up? And in one of my yearbooks, it's like, most likely to play guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa. It was inevitable.
I think I wrote
one thing that's interesting for me and for us to think about is like, in addition to like playing music, we're teaching people that the dreams that you have as a kid, they're actually possible. And it's just because it seems ridiculous, like you can still go for it.
You're literally playing guitar and making a living off it, supporting your wife and child, and living your life.
People told me I couldn't do what I'm doing now.
And you're also supporting Shlomo, which is so nice.
Thank you.
It's just so nice. But truly though, isn't that like it's ridiculous? I know. I mean, there are kids today who growing up like, oh, stop playing video games, and then there's kids who are making millions of dollars playing video games. I mean, obviously everything has its context and its purpose, but like. Truly, right? If you have a passion, spend time on that passion. You don't know what I mean?
Essentially, what people do is they say, turn off your real self so that what the world requests of you can come to life. Mm-hmm. Like the golem that the world wants of us. Like this, how'd you translate golem? Like this, this being, clay, this creature, this clay creature, this formed creature, societally formed creature of self is created. And people let that like arise from the dead, and then they actually, essentially, just die. They turn themselves off. They hibernate for the entirety of their lives. So we decided, like, we're not going to do that. We're going to include ourselves into our lives and let ourselves be present in our lives and, like, let that shine. And if it means telling someone, then, you know, I'll be a meaningful person. And if not, like, okay, I did what I was at least supposed to do here, because only I have that calling. No one else will ever have the same calling that another person has. So the little voice that I have, the little aleph, that little A, the little thing inside of me that's voicing these thoughts and ideas, like, I'm the only one who has that unique perspective. And if I were to shut that off, that is killing my individuality.
Oh, and
slaughtering.
And you're even shutting down a piece of the world.
Yes.
Like you're just like literally just darkening.
And that's my godliness. I'm actually shutting out my godliness. And that's why I think the Rebbe was not into that. He was not into slaughtering the inner voice. No. He wanted it to live.
He's about the individual.
He's about the individual, and let your individuality shine with gedlichkeit, with godliness. Like, why you thought they're one thing. Your personality is godly. It's not godliness and your personality, or your work self and your personality. Like, you are one person with many facets, like a diamond.
Right, and even more than that, don't shy away from the world. Don't like put yourself in a cupboard or even a base medrash all day, but rather share that with the world in any fashion that may be, right?
Well, I would say if you do.
Okay. Okay.
Well,
I saw Shlomo just jump out of his chair like, oh, on that note though.
No, because
yeah.
No, because I was gonna say that the Rebbe himself, before he had his global message, he also was in seclusion. Like, he had his hibernation.
Chas v'shalom, I wouldn't even say like staying in cold, like doing. That's I think it's a beautiful thing as well.
I think that it can't be one or the other. There has to be a time. Like for the Baal Shem Tov, it was on his 36th birthday. That was his time where he went from being a hobbit. No, what's the word? A person who's into there's a word for it. A person who's all alone, like does their own thing.
A hermit.
A hermit. He went from it.
Definitely wasn't a hobbit.
Not a hobbit.
Can we confirm that?
Just before JJ R.
Confirmed.
Yeah.
No, the Baal Shem Tov. I think the appropriate word is a hermit. Like, he had to himself. No one really knew what his story was. He had his hidden story.
Right. He was living.
But at a certain point, he had, with his teachers, he had special teachers for 10 years. It was from 26 to 36, I believe. Yeah. He had a special time where he was like, he was preparing himself to be open and share his message in a healthy, real way that would effectively change the face of the globe.
Mm-hmm. So I think what you're saying is that it's your individual self-growth is not the prime importance in coming to the world. It's really, a large part of your growth is, and what your mission is community-based.
Yeah. Yes, but that's like Jacob.
Helping people around you.
Jacob insulated himself.
Whatever that may be.
For 14 years.
Yes.
But then once he left that insulated Torah world, Shem and Aver world of Torah and prayer and godliness, like then it went into the world and he was faced with, how do I relate to every type of person that you could possibly imagine? All the crookedness that have been sheltered from. So there has to be this point of engagement. For some people, it's all the time. For some people, there's a stage of preparation and preparing something and harnessing, cooking something, and then taking it out of the oven.
Totally. That's absolutely true. So,
Totally.
So you just blew my mind. Yeah. Oh my.
I did want to say really quick that I saw something cool on YouTube.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey. You into Jim Carrey now?
I love. Do I love Jim Carrey?
His graduation speech.
Man.
Yeah.
Oh, the commencement speech.
Dude. I don't know if it was the commencement speech or something. One of his
all roads lead back.
So he said something extremely powerful, which was that his father.
Yes.
What made him so into comedy? What made him take the dive? Was that his father was also extremely funny, funnier than him, he says, and he decided not to pursue that, and he got like a regular job, and he did that for a little bit, and then he got fired. And Jim was like, "Well." I call him Jim. We're on a first name.
Yeah, the voice.
First name basis.
JC.
Yeah.
I call him Carrie.
Different JC.
Yeah.
But he's like, my dad tried to do something he didn't love, and he failed at it. So meaning that, why don't I try and do something that I love? Because either way, I could fail at it.
I'd rather fail at what I want to do than fail at what I don't even
Yeah.
want to do in the first place.
Yeah.
Correct, 100%.
So people, we asked before, is like people aren't risky enough in life. People are very
Like Gary V.
Risking, yeah.
You're not risking it, dude.
It's also risky
Blew
enough,
off
but
my-
also I think it's also from a very young age, and we talked about it a bit. People, their dreams get stifled. They're told that it's impossible.
Right.
If you're in your early 20s,
Yeah, you should be failing, making mistakes.
make a mistake.
100%.
It's not the time to settle.
I
Right.
think all the microphones just exploded. Like
We're literally
gonna
just
sound
peeking
like-
right now. All they hear is.
Yeah.
Okay,
We
Brian,
gotta
our
be-
sound guy,
we
just
gotta
nodding
be-
his head. Is like, oh god,
He's
these
like,
guys.
I'm sorry, I don't know what Gary V.
'Cause I said that-
people do.
What, Gary? No, but, Gary's incredible. He's definitely I gain a lot from his way of being
Me
and
too.
sharing. Yeah, he's awesome.
The first Jew, the first message is go explore the world.
Yeah.
Go.
Lech lecha.
Lech.
But go
Lead
to you, lech
Oh,
lecha,
lecha.
go
Go
into
you.
Oh,
yourself.
for sure.
Yo.
So not only leave your own comfort zone, but also leave yourself and find yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, leave the self that people have told you are, and enter the self which only you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just speaking over with Rabbi Shei's Taub, the idea of taking time to speak to oneself. You know, we were yeah, literally, exactly. Just going out there and speaking to the Abba, to the Creator who's out there, but also to the Creator who's within ourselves. We all have a piece of God to really look deep and to connect with our own essence and to discover what that looks like.
Part of Hisbodedus.
And there's a speaking self, there's a
is the
thinking
power-
self, there's the action.
The dancing self.
Yeah.
Part of the power of Hisbodedus is that you're hearing, just like you're writing something, is that in your mind things aren't clarified, and it's like sort of this vague idea of what you may or may not
My
feel.
question to that is though, how do you know? Because we have so many voices inside ourselves, right? How do you know which one's the truth?
Exactly, the one that you say out loud, the one you write down on a piece of paper.
I would say that's not 100% where I'm at.
Okay.
It is.
Because thought, speech, and action are the levushe hanefesh. They're only adornments of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
They're only clothing, meaning you could take off a thought and put a new thought on. It's a garment, so that's not yourself. You could take off, you could put different words in your mouth. So those words clearly don't define you because your words are replaceable, are exchangeable. And likewise, actions. Sometimes I'm sleeping, sometimes So what is self? Self can't be based on the actions that people see.
Mm-hmm.
It can't be based on the words that people hear. And even my own thoughts, sometimes I'm not thinking, or sometimes I'm dormant. So there's a part of self that seeps deeper than my thought, speech, and action, and that's the real self. And it is expressed in all of those mediums in thought, speech, and action, but it's not limited to. And that's why, let's say one of the holiest, most powerful experiences is going to the mikveh, is going to the ritual bath, is just dunking in water, immersing 100% of yourself into this medium
Body
called
of-
water that just dissolves. It dissolves everything that you thought you were, and you exit, and then you can be something brand new. And that's why you take off all your garments, because we think we are the person that, this is who people think I am this guy.
You're
whereas a
perceived
long
by
time-
the exterior of who you are, how you show up.
Yes, but that's the exterior of my identity, and so is thought, speech, and action. There's an interior person, there's an interior self that's not our thoughts, that's not our action, and not our speech. And that's why every week we're growing with new thoughts, new speech, new action.
And you're right now stepping into a new chapter where you're sharing your essence with somebody else. You're getting married in a few short weeks,
Yes.
bless you, which is and Zach, you just got married not too long ago. I think I have a child, which is so beautiful. And was it difficult for you to date as the people that you are? I mean, you're maybe celebrities, but you guys are very well known. Was it hard to find somebody a half, and then also and to share them, or to break through that Zusha?
Anyone who
mask?
has inner eyes, if they see me as the exterior projected self that is through all these projectors and screens and visages, then that would be hard for that person to get to know me. But that's because of their own limitations. But Baruch Hashem, I found someone who has inner eyes, who can see in a deeper way, and who wants to get to know the person within, and who the person that is beyond all of those mirrors and images and whatever people think I am, that is a part of who I am, but it's not what I'm limited to. Right? It's an expression, but it's not all of me.
Right. And Zach, you pretty much married a fan.
Pretty much.
No, I did too. No, I'm not saying that she's not a fan.
I met my wife at a concert.
Oh,
Pretty much.
Right.
She didn't know who I was. She's like, Who are you? No, I'm joking.
Who are you filling in for?
Yeah.
That's
Actually,
amazing.
my soon-to-be wife, my Kala, my bride, my holy bride, beloved bride, she actually gave me a blessing 3 years ago at a show that I should find my Kala, and she essentially self-described herself as the. She's giving me a blessing.
Subliminally
She put some seeds in that took some time to grow, and it's like, wait a second.
But you never know when your blessings come true. So it's worth to give. She gave a blessing I should find the right person, and she liked me, and now her blessing came true to her.
I have this conversation with like other musicians. I used to not want to marry a fan because I feel like I don't want them to like me for the music.
Sure.
But in retrospect, like I'm so happy that I married a fan, and I think it's important because you want your wife to support what you do, and if she loves the music, that's an amazing thing. She'll let you do.
She'll never let you leave it. She'll allow you to always be that.
If she hates your music, you're in trouble. You're in trouble.
Enough of that ruckus. Get a real job.
Alternative.
Yeah, you know exactly.
Yeah.
It's actually really.
That's a real thing. That's actually.
So I had to come to the same. Zach could realize in his own way. I had to realize in my own way, and it's really a big privilege that we are at this point. I think that they say that up until a person is married, they're only half of who they are. They're only half a body. So I think that it's anything that we'll achieve from this point on is going to be more complete, more whole, more integrative. It's a better offering to others, you know.
And for those who are listening, because I know the wives and the future wives don't know, but what's something quickly, something that the world, the fans, people don't know about you
until the sequel, right?
But of course, there will be some new things. But Zach, you go first, and Shlomo, what's something?
What?
One more time.
Something that people don't know about you. What's something that we don't know about you?
I feel like people know everything.
Everything.
I actually don't know Zach's favorite color.
Oh, okay.
Red.
No, I don't have a favorite. Give me something else. You go first.
Give me something easy.
No. You may not know that I love pottery. I love to make pottery, and
that's a good one.
And in Mirza Hashem, I look forward to making pottery again. In high school, I made so much pottery that I almost got a scholarship for pottery.
What?
Yeah.
Oh what can't you do?
and I like for years afterwards, I was kind of like dishing out pottery for like wedding presents, like handmade gift, like a homemade gift. So I really miss pottery, and I look forward to re-exploring that, and maybe it'll make its way to Zusha, maybe not.
Yes. Zusha plates.
Yeah.
coming
cups, you know?
Yes. Either way, Mirza Hashem, I'll be able to have like a pottery studio alongside a music studio, a pottery studio in my house. I need 2 studios, and then I need a base midrash.
Of course. Zacho.
I don't know.
Zach's a chef!
That's my wife.
Zach's a chef!
I like to cook.
That's it! That's the one! Alright.
You don't have to be so shy, honey!
Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. You find yourself in the kitchen a lot?
Yes. Yeah.
You're an amazing cook.
You want to open a restaurant one day?
No, later.
Alright.
50, 60,
Listen, let's
down the line.
In 50 seconds from now.
Yeah.
So we'll host the next podcast, hopefully not before then, but in the restaurant, we'll look back at this time and say,
all the materials were made from me. I'll make the materials. You fill it with food.
It's not bad. It's just a restaurant.
Yeah.
Homemade.
What would they serve?
It's be a full experience.
Everything is authentic.
They serve.
Be yourself. No one else can.
Let us know in the comments below, guys. What would this restaurant serve?
What type of plates? Give us some. Someone make an Etsy.
Round or
no, not Etsy. What's the medium where people put Pinterest? Make a Pinterest board of what you want me to make in ceramic.
Pinterest below.
I only do pottery though. Only the wheel, not just like random play-things. Only on that spinning wheel. That's my only specialty.
And we have to give, of course, lots of love towards
our sponsors.
Your sponsors.
The creator!
To the creator, to Hashem, bring us all together, to Patil, your manager.
Yes. To his wife.
What to his wife?
To the nameless one that's coming to the world soon.
Amen. God willing. Wow, Baruch Hashem. The Zusha family is growing.
I actually brought a list with me. If you're
getting Academy Awards right now, the Grammys. I do hope you come again. I would love to come back again.
We should do this more often.
Yeah, we could do the weekly sessions. With
totally down.
Guys, this is beautiful. I'm leaving energized as I always. Every time I sometimes bump into you guys in the street, there's always a few words touch and go, but literally bumping. Yeah, bump. Yeah, we literally bump into each other.
Dangerous.
And
It's
it's
slow cooked. This is a slow cooked.
This was nice. This was marination, and we really seeked it a little deeper than usual. And it's always a pleasure to sit down with you guys for bringing with
Chef
you.
Achaim, just a flow of life.
Next time we get a Joe Rogan a marathon going on.
Oh yeah,
2.5
totally. Yeah. Can I at least yeah.
Joe Rogan is running?
No. Oh. And on that note, we'll end this podcast.
Who, Joe? What?
You got homework to do, Shlomo.